Hello, what is up, you guys? It's Jason, and actually in a couple days I will be filming my 2 months post-op, so here's a little sneak peek. There we go. There it is. Anyway, I've been wanting to make this video for a really long time. This is going to be how I apply my testosterone. Oh my god, that is way too bright. There we go. It's how you apply your testosterone. So it's FtM. I really want this information to be out there just in case you want to get on gels if you're, scared about needles or something like that. Like, I've been on this same exact thing for the entire time I've been on T, and I've been on T for almost a year and a half now. The reason why I couldn't make this for you before was because I needed to show my chest, and I couldn't because I had stuff there. What you're gonna do is I'm gonna grab a couple of tissues from right over there. I got two. And then you need to take your FtM out of the box, obviously. This is also pretty specific to FtM too, because this particular little thing right here, other things, other gels don't have that. Like androgel doesn't have the little knobby at the top. It's just kind of flat, so you can just peel it off, and I think you can just peel it off this way, and then it all comes out. But what I do is I use pliers to get that shit out. So if you have pliers or any kind of tool like that, I really just recommend pliers. I stole them from my dad, and I haven't given them back to him in a year and a half, so that was nice of me. So what I do is just fold a Kleenex in half like that, and then I put it to the side of me, and then I fold another one in half, and then in half again, and then I put it to the side of me, and then I put my FtM on top of the paper towel, and then I put my pliers on top, or not paper towel, on top of the Kleenex, and then I put my pliers on top of the longer, I put them on top of the longer Kleenex, so like this. And if you're worried about getting your testosterone in places that you don't want it to be, since it's topical, and since if you touch it, it can have some effects and stuff like that, putting it on Kleenex or paper towel or napkin or whatever, it doesn't really matter, really, gets it so you won't get it in places you don't want it. And I really feel like I don't have to be all that careful about it, just because I've come up with this system and it really works well. I was really nervous that my mom would come in and touch it, or my girlfriend at the time would come in, and it would be bad. But it's really not all that big of a deal. You are not supposed to you're not supposed to wet the area of your body or submerge it or whatever for 2 hours, because it takes a little while to seep into your skin, and you're not supposed to have somebody touch you on that area. But if you're wearing a shirt, then that's not a big deal. But for, I think, the same, 2 hours. But that's not ever really been that much of an issue, because, I have my shirt on and stuff like that. You're supposed to wash your hands before. I just washed my hands. You're also supposed to wash the area. To be honest with you, sometimes I don't, and I think that that's, perfectly fine, because I don't think this area right here, gets dirty all that often. I think you're supposed to wash it with, soap and water and stuff. Sometimes I just wash it with water, sometimes I don't wash it at all. Anyway, taking this out. So to get this out of here, so you just unscrew this cap, and then there's a little, I don't know if you can see that. It's just a solid thing. It looks exactly like the coloring of this. This thing right here, it comes to a point and it's kind of sharp. So what you do is you put this end over this, and then you just push down. And then I like to twirl it a little bit, just so all that's getting out. Oh, and then that leaves a little bit, so that's great. Yeah, you're gonna take this, and then you're gonna puncture it with this end, and then spin it around a little bit if you'd like. That's optional. It just comes out faster if you do that, and I'm good with that. If you want it to come out slower, just don't spin it around. So then you're left with this hole on top of here. You can definitely see that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to push this out from this end down, right? If you start pushing with this end, it's going to be harder for it to come out later. So just keep doing that. And then, you know, just coat your hand. Just kind of coat your hand like so. It's really clear, by the way. It smells like Purell hand sanitizer. So just kind of coat your hand until it's about halfway gone. Honestly, I'd say halfway would probably be about to here. It looks like it's a little bit more than halfway, but there's a lot that bunches up around this area just because it has like a greater surface area than up here. You know, it's a lot thinner up here. This is round and stuff like that. So if you can see that at all, it's about half. This is gonna be a better judge for you. What you're gonna wanna do, just put it up here. And so I rub it on my shoulders, my upper arms a little bit, just not enough to like, you know, be low enough down so that like the sleeves of the t-shirt won't cover it. And then my back a little bit, like my upper back up here, on my chest a little bit up here. You know, it doesn't really matter. If you are gonna wear a tank top, just make sure that people aren't gonna touch you. So what I do for the second one then is I get out the pliers and squeeze out the last bits on this part. So, oh yeah, also I should mention, so when you're doing the tea, you want to, when you're spilling the tea, you want to have this hand go to this shoulder, this hand go to this shoulder. Like, pretty self-explanatory, but you know. Alright, so I get out the pliers, and what I do is just squeeze from the bottom to the top. I just squeeze it all in here. And then sometimes this piece down here will break. It will. So what you want to do is just get out as much as you can, really. So then what I do, put your empty tea pouch back onto the napkin right here. This is the cap. And then, you know, put your pliers back. And this side is actually almost already dry. My skin absorbs the tea very well. Some people's skin absorbs it better, some doesn't. A lot of people say like, oh, I don't want to be on gel because it doesn't absorb enough, like it doesn't get me enough tea, blah blah blah. Like, I was getting more tea in the first 6 months of my transition than most guys on injections were, because I start off, because the gel is 50 milligrams of testosterone. So you multiply that by 7, right? You're supposed to do it every single day. That's 350 milligrams. And a lot, like the general thing for injections is mostly 250. So I was getting 100 more milligrams than guys on injections. Because, you know, they take into account things that, the stuff that gets on your hands, blah blah blah, the lack of absorption or whatever the heck, and all of that good stuff. Also, make sure you don't touch anything with your hands after you do it, and like in between you doing it and washing your hands, because you're supposed to wash them right away. What you want to do is wash your hands next. You know, you can just take your fingers and like lightly pat down the area where you applied the testosterone, just like lightly a little bit, just so you don't get too much on your fingers. It's pretty much almost already dry for me. Pretty much just wait until it dries. At first, when I started doing it, it would take a really long time for mine to dry. I don't know why that was. I would have to wait like a while, like 30 minutes almost. If that's the case, just keep doing it. It might be where, you know, your body gets used to it and then like it takes a lot less time to dry later on, like me in my case. Or you can still get up and go even before it's dry, as long as nobody's touching you. That's not a big deal. If you do want it to dry before you leave the house and you don't have a ton of time to get ready in the morning, I would suggest definitely doing it first thing in the morning, right when you get up. It's also recommended recommended that you do it in the morning, and then if it hasn't dried by the time you're ready to go, you can still just put a shirt on and go, or a binder or whatever, you know what I'm saying. I've done that before where, you know, it's still sticky and stuff, and you know, it's kind of annoying, but it's okay. And that, for me, when I was starting tea, was so much more worth it than the anxiety that needles would have caused me. If you feel like you want to be on gel tea rather than needles, then that's really cool. My prescription, actually, with my insurance and everything, the cost for my monthly tea is $17.01 most of the time. My insurance saves me a lot of money though. But if you have a similar type of health insurance and that's, you know, an option for you, then that's awesome. Different brands are covered by different places, which is cool. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope this was informational for you. I wanted to make this for, like, the entire time I've been on tea. And I will be filming another video very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think, I guess. Alright, thanks guys, bye.